Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. This is Hope TV's Newswatch on this day, the 11th day of February 2026. Yet again, it feels so great to have you join us and choose us yet again tonight to bring you up to speed with the latest stories shaping your world of news. My name is Theo Macharia, and at the bottom left of your screen is Boniface Mureithi on the Sign Language Interpretation Desk. And together, let's update you with the latest in the world of news. Now, the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, has removed Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna from the post of Secretary General of the party with immediate effect. A meeting of the ODM National Executive Council held in Mombasa today described Sifuna as lacking discipline and not towing to the party's line, despite being the Secretary General, with the NEC appointing Deputy Secretary General Catherine Omanyo to take over Sifuna's position. Now, my colleague Vincent Kerosi now reports on how the step was arrived at after months of push and pull between the two sides of the Orange Democratic Party.
Senator Edwin Sifuna, the NEC resolved to remove him from office with immediate effect in accordance with the party constitution and applicable laws.
The bombshell that shook the political scene this afternoon. Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna shone the door after holding the post as the ODM Secretary General for 8 years.
Effectively, the Deputy Secretary General, Honorable me, yours truly, Catherine Omanyo, will act in this position until a substantive holder of the position is elected.
The ODM National Executive Council has finally decided to discipline Sifuna after several months of the senator openly opposing the party's decision to enter into a working pact with the ruling UDA party. For some time now, Sifuna has been openly stating that he does not recognize the ODM-UDA relationship, despite the alliance being initiated by the party's former leader, the late Raila Odinga.
Kwa hivyo, sisi ni wale tunasema ya kwamba chama cha ODM kinatembea na watu ambao wana maadili ambayo inafanana na sisi. Hakuna siku baba angepiga kanisa tear gas bwana, haiwezekani.
The move to oust Sifuna was not a surprise, as the signs had been clear that he would be removed, especially after appearing to cause a split in the Orange Party. Sifuna and several leaders, including ODM Deputy Party Leader Godfrey Osotsi, Siaya Governor James Orengo, Embakasi East MP Babu Wino, Saboti MP Caleb Amisi, among others, dancing to their own tune.
Pesa ya capitation imeshinda kulipa. Wale wa headmasters wa shule wanangangana na watoto wetu. Hakuna pesa. Wanakataa kulipa hata private universities pesa ya capitation. Wanasema Sifuna anyamaze ama nitafurushwa kama katibu mkuu wa chama cha ODM.
Baba Raila Amolo Odinga alisema hatutaki viti. Tunataka wananchi wapate haki zao, wale ambao hawana kazi, na tuangalie hali ya uchumi kabla yoyote kudhubutu kutafuta kazi. Sasa tunasema ya kwamba chama cha ODM haiwezi kuingia kwa UDA. Kamwe, kamwe, kamwe.
This move could now spark a new political movement in the days to come, especially after the Sifuna-backed faction appeared to launch its own campaign under the name Linda Mwananchi, which is expected to fiercely compete with the ongoing ODM's own campaign called Linda Ground. Amidst these developments, the ODM party has announced that it has initiated the formal process of withdrawing from the Azimio la Umoja coalition, stating that the coalition had already disintegrated.
Baba alikuwa anasema kama ni kutuua watuue.
This comes after Uhuru Kenyatta made an abrupt change to the alliance leadership, making Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka the coalition's chief.
This thing called Azimio, we are the Azimio. The majority, the strongest party in Azimio was ourselves as ODM. There is nobody who can make a decision in Azimio without concurrence of ODM.
Vincent Kerosi, Hope TV, Nairobi.
And a sharp exchange has erupted between President William Ruto and his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua over government's response to the ongoing drought crisis in northern Kenya. Speaking in Garissa, President Ruto strongly defended his administration's efforts and dismissed criticism from Gachagua, accusing him of turning a humanitarian crisis into a political platform. This comes after Gachagua insisted the government is not doing enough as the funds set aside fall short of what millions of Kenyans urgently need. Our reporter Dolly Mwirigi Mbuvi tells us more tonight.
President William Ruto has taken a direct aim at his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua as the political referee spilled into the debate over drought relief. Speaking in Garissa, the head of state dismissed Gachagua as an idler, questioning his ability to plan or deliver meaningful development.
I will continue to spend time figuring out how Kenya can move forward, how the young people of Kenya cannot be misused by planless, brainless, clueless politicians who only see in our youth tools of their own trade for their own politics. In these young people, we have the future of the nation.
Ruto remarks are a clear response to his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua's recent attacks on the Kenya Kwanza administration over what he calls a slow and inadequate drought response. According to Gachagua, the region has long been neglected and the current intervention falls short of what is needed, further questioning the adequacy of funds set aside for drought mitigation.
The problem of northern Kenya is a problem of accountability, theft of public resources by leaders that he wines and dines with. He is going to be with those leaders in military choppers, blowing dust and wind to hungry population with no water and food. I would like to ask him to carry food and water for the people of northern Kenya. All the mains and all the beans and rice, blankets, food and non-food items being used in central Kenya, in Nyandarua, in Kiambu, in Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Nyeri, to campaign, he should take those foods and non-food items. I found yesterday in Nyandarua trucks of blankets, trucks of rice and beans being taken to people who have food, who have potatoes, who have carrots. This food is required in northern Kenya.
In his address on Tuesday, the former DP alleged misuse of public resources, claiming that some emergency supplies have been diverted for political activities. In addition, he criticized what he described as excessive government spending, including the use of helicopters at a time when drought-affected families are struggling to survive. Meanwhile, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki urged leaders to keep politics out of the drought response.
Wale wakora na brokers wa siasa wasilete siasa katika mambo ya ukame. Wasilete maneno ya siasa katika mambo ya ukame. Watafute kitu ingine ya kuleta siasa. This government is focused on solving Kenya's problems one by one, step by step, under President William Ruto. And those who are lecturing us, amtawezana na sisi. You have no capacity. Muko down. Muko chini sana.
Meanwhile, President Ruto has begun his 3-day tour of northern Kenya, starting with a Nyota Disbursement Forum in Garissa County. As the drought tightens its grip on vulnerable communities, the political temperatures appear to be rising as fast, with only 18 months to the much-awaited 2027 general elections. Dolly Murugimbovi for Hope TV.
And the National Dialogue Committee that is overseeing the implementation of the 10-point agenda is accusing governors from Nyanza region of giving it a wide berth during its sittings in the area. According to the vice chairman of the committee, Javas Bigambo, it was regrettable that though matters devolution affect the people and counties and that reflections of the governors could be important, none of the region's governors has considered to engage the committee. Bigambo appealed to Kenyans to come out in their numbers and speak on the issues of good governance, devolution, protests, and compensation issues, adding that the committee recommendations will further enhance the governance fabric of the republic.
As we get to move to the other regions, we'd like to appeal for the people to come out in their numbers, speak to the issues of good governance, speak to the issues of devolution, speak to the issues of protests and compensation issues, because the committee's recommendations will further enhance the governance fabric.
Money from the county assembly, they have to go through the county executive committee of finance. They are saying the president assented, but now that is on paper, they want it now on the ground. And the reality is, we have heard even from the president himself, he has talking about from this financial year. But now we want to move from paper to action. That is the journey to Singapore, whereby
devolution family, we have had an engagement with them, and we are requesting them to consider the following proposals for avoidance of doubt, and that people will not crucify them for putting this in their report. That we want allocations to the counties enhanced because they have so many responsibilities, and we want functions which are devolved to fully be devolved and finances to follow. We ask them also to include in their report that the county assemblies want full autonomy on paper and in practice. Let us have regulations that speak to the autonomy, which is the spirit of the amended law.
We are not leaving any Kenyan behind. We are even to tell the people of Siaya, we want to walk this journey with them. We are here to receive their views, irrespective of whether they support the broad-based or not. We are here to ask them, please air your views, air your recommendations. It will be covered.
And at least 6 people have been injured after a section of a foundation of a building under construction collapsed at the junction of Racecourse and Kirinyaga Road in Nairobi CBD on Wednesday morning. According to Kenya Red Cross, all 18 workers who were at the construction site at the time of the incident have been accounted for, with those injured taken to the hospital. Alice Diana informs us tonight that the latest incident adds to a string of building collapses in Nairobi in recent weeks.
Rescue efforts were swiftly mounted Wednesday morning after a section of a foundation of a building under construction collapsed near OTC along Kirinyaga Road in Nairobi's Central Business District. The Kenya Red Cross confirmed that 6 workers who had been trapped in the collapsed foundation of the structure were successfully rescued in a multi-agency operation involving the Nairobi County Fire Brigade, the National Disaster Operations Center, the National Police Service, and the Kenya Red Cross. According to a source we spoke to, the structure collapsed around 3:30 a.m. during ongoing night construction.
Excavation ilikuwa inaendelea. Kwa wanatoa mchanga pale zikienda kwa tipa huko, so I think siko sure, but hiyo commotion, hiyo vibration, kulikuwa na wafanyikazi walikuwa wanafanya kazi hapo. Kuna wale waliweza kuepa hiyo jengo na wengine waliweza kuumia kupelekwa hospitali.
An officer from the Nairobi Public Control Section, who opted to remain anonymous, revealed that he had raised concern when the construction of the building began, noting that part of the construction site encroached to public road, hence affecting normal operations.
Kuna wakati hii construction ilianza, niliongea na one of the contractors. Nikamwambia kuna hooting wamefanya ambayo wamefunika mpaka karibu na barabara. Nikawaambia mahali watu wanapita haiwezekani kabisa, hakuna nafasi wameacha, the rest ni wamechukua mpaka wakafanya routing. Sasa wakati nilimwambia, akaniambia ati engineer ndiye alikuwa amepeana hiyo ruhusa outing ifanyiwe mpaka hapo. Hii construction vile inafanywa haitafanywa na njia ambayo inafaa, kwa sababu kama mimi mtu wa matatu, watu wangu hata saa hii niko na off. Wananchi wanapita kwa barabara, magari inapita kwa barabara, alafu pia pikipiki zinapita kwa barabara. Mimi naovia maisha ya hao.
Business people around the area also decried the loss of customers due to the encroachment of structure on public road that has affected smooth flow of transport.
Mambo na hiyo nyumba venye imeletaleta hapa ndani inasababisha watu wanasungumana na mapikipiki na wengine gari ambaye zinaingia hapa garage. So tunaomba hapo waangalie.
This latest collapse is the third major incident this year. The cause of the foundation collapse has not been established, with authorities probing the incident. At the start of the year, on January 2nd, a 16-story building under construction in South Sea collapsed, claiming the lives of at least 2. And barely a week later, on January 10th, a residential building under construction in the Karen area collapsed, resulting in 2 demises and 7 injuries. The trend has raised concerns over the regulation of the industry and approval procedures. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has strongly denied reports that his administration is transferring key county functions to the national government, labeling such claims as quote-unquote malicious propaganda and fake news. Addressing rumors of a takeover following his recent meeting with President William Ruto, Sakaja maintained that City Hall retains full control over its constitutional mandate and that no functions have been ceded. Sakaja explicitly ruled out the return of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services NMS, referencing the disastrous legacy of the previous arrangement, which left the county with 16 billion shillings in form of pending bills. The governor clarified that his engagements with the national government are for structured collaboration on specific projects such as waste management, drainage and lighting, rather than a transfer of power.
I honor the mandate given to me by the people of Nairobi. They entrusted me with the constitutional powers to transform this city. I will not betray that trust. In the year 2020, Nairobi got into a misadventure that ended up being costly. The NMS experiment left us with a 16 billion shillings hole in pending bills, low staff morale due to mistreatment, and a defilement of devolution. The functions bestowed upon the county government of Nairobi by the Constitution will remain county functions. We shall not transfer any functions of the county of Nairobi. Nairobi is not just a county, it is a capital city. So of course collaboration with the national government is inevitable. In fact, it is encouraged. But in the words of the former late Prime Minister, the father of devolution, we must protect devolution. It is the biggest gift given to the people of Kenya by our law. We are pursuing procedures using the Urban Areas and Cities Act that talk about the capital city to enhance support in infrastructure, but the city will continue to be governed as a county government under the law. So for those who have been wishing or imagining that misadventure would happen again in Nairobi, find another county and find another governor. This governor, Sakaja Arthur Johnson, shall never go in that direction.
And a family in Kiambu town is living in anguish after their 26-year-old son Joseph Kamau traveled to Moscow, Russia in June 2025 in search of better opportunities. And the sad part is that he has not been heard yet from since his arrival at Moscow. His mother, Susan Wanjiru, says the last time she spoke to him was on the day he landed in Moscow, after which all communication went silent. Kamau's case joins that of over 200 Kenyans who have ended up in a foreign war thousands of miles from home as a result of desperation, deceit, and a failure of collective vigilance.
Kamau, a trained chef who previously worked at a hotel along Thika Road,
had reportedly secured what he believed was a cooking job with the Russian army, promising a better pay than in Kenya.
Na sasa hivi watu wakati alienda akidanganywa ati anaenda kufanya kazi ya upishi ati apikie wa jeshi. Sasa kufika huko tunarudi kusikia ati mtoto ameenda kupewa bunduki. Bunduki tu zenye anaona zinabebwa na mapolisi huku na yeye hajaifanya kazi ya upishi na bunduki hazipelekani. Sasa mtoto akipewa bunduki anaenda kufanya kazi ya bunduki ataanzisha wapi? Na hizi kitu ya kucheza kiholela holela.
Kamau's mother, Susan Manjiru, says her son was linked to the job opportunity by a woman she never met who helped him process travel documents and relocate.
Mara yangu ya mwisho kuongea na yeye ni saa ile alifika huko. Akifika huko akaniambia amefika Moscow, na tangu siku hiyo sikuongea na yeye tena mpaka wa leo. Sasa nangojea, ndio nauliza serikali kama inaweza inirudishie mtoto wangu. Alikuwa na agent, lakini huyo agent mimi simjui, sikuonana na yeye macho kwa macho. Kama ndio tu alikuwa wanajuana na yeye.
The distraught family is now appealing to the government through the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary to help trace his whereabouts, fearing for his safety amid reports of Kenyans facing hardship in Russia.
Sasa ndio tunashindwa sababu alienda mwaka jana, sijui mwezi wa 6 hivi. Hatujui ako aje mahali yuko. Sababu tunasikia watu wanaenda kuvuzwa kwa siku chache alafu natumwa line za bere mahali vita imesidia. Kwa hivyo sisi hatujui vile mtoto wetu yuko. Na tunauliza ambassador wetu ule yako hapa, ule yako huko Russia. Tujue kama anatushughulikia kwa watu hawa alienda kimakosa bila kujua wanaenda kufanyishwa hiyo kazi ya vita. Sababu alidanganywa ati ni vibarua vingine.
Kamau's kin wants the government to intervene and bring back Kenyans allegedly caught in a war they had nothing to do with, miles away due to desperation, deceit and a failure of collective vigilance.
Sababu tunasikia watu wanaenda kuvuzwa kwa siku chache alafu natumwa line za bere mahali vita imesidia. Kwa hivyo sisi hatujui vile mtoto wetu yuko. Na tunauliza ambassador wetu ule yako hapa, ule yako huko Russia. Tujue kama anatushughulikia kwa watu hawa alienda kimakosa bila kujua wanaenda kufanyishwa hiyo kazi ya vita.
Vijana ningeba kuambia vijana wenzangu, tukienda kutafuta kazi ni vyema tunajuliza wazazi, tunawaambia mahali tumepata kazi, tunawapea information ya kutosha.
Foreign Minister Musalia Mudavadi called the practice unacceptable and clandestine and said Nairobi had shut down more than 600 recruitment agencies suspected of duping Kenyans with promises of jobs overseas.
We have so far facilitated about 27 Kenyans to come back home, away from the front line and away from what they thought were different jobs, but lured into battle. We have seen loss of lives, and I am planning to make a visit to Moscow so that we can emphasize that this is something that needs to be arrested.
Ever since reports of Kenyans dying in the Russia-Ukraine war surfaced, Russia has not formally addressed such reports. So far, 27 Kenyans who had been fighting in Russia have been repatriated, with authorities providing psychological care to address their trauma and de-radicalize them. The affected families have continually placed the blame squarely on Kenya's government for failing to regulate and criminalize clandestine recruitment agencies. Theo Macharia for Hope TV's Newswatch. All right, and now let's take a look at some matters business. Retail leader Naivas Supermarket has received 134 million shillings compensation payout from CIC Insurance following the June 2025 protests. The settlement under a political violence and terrorism policy covers extensive looting and vandalism at branches in Nyeri, Nairobi, and Naivasha. This latest disbursement brings the chain's total protest-related compensation to 300 million shillings over the last 2 years. Naivas CEO Andreas von Paleski noted that strong insurance partnerships are vital for navigating today's volatile market. CIC leadership reaffirmed their commitment to de-risking businesses currently managing a general portfolio valued at 21 billion shillings nationwide.
Indeed, it's a very good day for us today. As Andreas has said, we have had a very solid partnership between Naivas and CIC Insurance Group way back from 2014, so at least 12 years. And over a period of time, CIC has really committed to this partnership, paying Naivas over 392 million shillings over the period, and therefore, just going beyond the numbers to being a very, very good partner in relationship. I will quickly brief ourselves about CIC. It's good to mention that as Naivas is the biggest supermarket chain in Kenya, CIC Insurance Group also ranks quite high in our business. We operate in 4 countries, Kenya, Uganda, Malawi, and South Sudan, and therefore bringing regional expertise and local understanding of our partnership. Very, very solid business with over 164% capital adequacy ratio. I think that is very important even for the event we are here today, and lighting over 21 billion shillings in revenues for just general business. So obviously here today to do the significant event where we are reimbursing Naivas 134 million. And this is basically and definitely made possible by the adequate capacity and liquidity that CIC Group has built over the last 50 years that we have been in existence.
Right now, it's time for us to play, and we begin with some matters rugby. Quite an expected, anticipated weekend coming up this Saturday. That's the Rugby Sevens. Let's begin with that, where several Nairobi roads are set to be closed over the weekend to accommodate the upcoming World Rugby Sevens tournament at the Nyayo Stadium. The National Police Service announced that the Aerodrome Road between Madaraka and Bunyala Road will be completely closed from midnight on Friday, February 13th. Nairobi Traffic-Based Representative Silas Bundi confirmed the closures, saying it was meant to ease the movement in and out of the Nyayo Stadium. Also, a section of Mombasa Road will also be closed, with motorists heading to the CBD urged to seek alternative routes. In addition, a section of Langata Road heading towards Nyayo Stadium will also be closed, with motorists urged to divert to Raila Odinga Road at the T-Mall roundabout if headed to the CBD. Motorists planning to attend the event also are notified that there will be no parking inside the grounds, with officials urged to plan ahead before making their way to the venue.
For the 2 days of the event, we will close completely Aerodrome Road. Aerodrome Road will be completely closed. We will close partially Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road will be closed partially to ensure the safe movement of participants and spectators. I would request the Kenyans who have no business within Nyayo Stadium to use alternative routes to avoid these snarl-ups. All vehicles moving from Mombasa Road, intending to access the CBD, we would like to ask you to use alternative routes. There will be no parking for those who will be participating and for those who will be attending as spectators. So you must, or Kenyans must arrange for parking before attending the event.
Frank has been sacked by Tottenham Spurs after just under 8 months in charge following their dismal 2-1 defeat at home against Newcastle on Tuesday. Spurs are 16th in the Premier League and just 5 points above the relegation zone following a dreadful run of form. Tottenham said they had been quote-unquote determined to give Frank the time and support needed to build for the future together. But recent results meant a change at this point is necessary, quote-unquote. Frank took over as head coach in June after Ange Postecoglou was sacked and signed a deal until 2028, but proved unable to notably improve the club's league form despite strong results in European competition. And on that note, we've come to a close of tonight's edition of Hope TV's Newswatch. Many thanks for choosing us to inform you with the latest. I hope you have been adequately informed. My name is Theo Macharia. On the sign language interpretation desk was Boniface Murezi. To the men and women behind the scenes who've made this broadcast a success, led by my producer, Faith Kaulu, and the man behind the lenses, Paul. We call him Pose right here. We wish you a lovely night. Oh, with my director, Charlene Cadillo. Good night. God bless. See you tomorrow. Remember, there is nothing that is too hard for the Lord.